Welcome to Field Notes. I'm Gina Cazazza, the host of the podcast Mindset Lessons from the Field, and this is a mini episode where I'm going to share with you guys what's going on in my life and how our Special Forces guests have helped me to succeed in whatever is going on in my life. And as I mentioned in Field Notes episode number 1, it was the Kickstarter. I believe I was at the beginning of the Kickstarter, and now I have finished the Kickstarter, and I really could tell you that if it wasn't for the guests that we've had on this podcast, if it wasn't for my teacher, Randy Weitenheimer, who has been on the show, I don't think I would have succeeded at this Kickstarter at all. And yes, I did succeed at the Kickstarter. I raised $6,200, which is absolutely incredible for myself because I'll tell you guys a little fun fact about me. This is not my first Kickstarter. I have done 3 Kickstarters as a solo creator, and they have all been an epic fail besides this one. This was the first one that I've successfully done, and I am so grateful. And I have learned so much, obviously from my failed ones to now, but also from the lessons from the guests, because I will say in the very, very beginning of this Kickstarter, statistically, it wasn't looking good. I think you're supposed to raise like 50%. You're supposed to hit 50% by the first week, and I didn't hit 50% until the last 10 days of the Kickstarter. And it's only 30 days. It's an all or nothing campaign, so it didn't look good. And also, as a solo creator, there are more failed Kickstarters than successes because many of our guests talked about this on the show. Like, you can only go so far as a solo person, and I started as a solo person. And when I finished, I had a team of 75 backers and many people that have shared my Kickstarter, and that helped me gain traction and people coming to pre-order the book and giving me pledges. That was absolutely amazing. So I might have started at 1, but I ended with an awesome team that helped me reach my goal. But I really want to start with what I mentioned last week. I really think that if it wasn't for Jamone Brown, like talking to him and him being on the show at this moment, at the very beginning of the Kickstarter, I don't know if I would have succeeded because he was the one that planted that mindset shift in me where he said winning isn't normal, right? And that's when I started to go down the rabbit hole of, okay, well, how normal is it to succeed as a Kickstarter? Because again, and I've mentioned this several times, like I have this delusional confidence. I think Tyler Kavanaugh mentioned it on the show where, you have this delusional confidence sometimes where you're like, I can't lose, right? And the thing is like, I wasn't going to lose either way because if I didn't do it, I just do it again, right? And I just go at it and go at it and go at it until I succeed. And I guess in a way, like that's where my delusional confidence comes in because I don't quit, right? And I actually read something today where it was when life is difficult and everything turns bad, always remember that even a turtle can finish a race as long as he never gives up. And I was never giving up. I think Randy mentioned to me in the beginning of the Kickstarter, he's like, listen, you don't fund it, you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. You don't just not do it, right? And then you find other ways to get funding. You get grants, other stuff that can help you to bring your book to life. Because as I tell people, like at least have $5,000 to $15,000 for your children's book. Those illustrations and all of it, because it is self-published. It's all you. It's all your upfront costs, right? And nothing's guaranteed. There's no guarantee they're going to make the money back at all. But again, you're betting on yourself. And when I bet on myself, well, I bet to win. Nobody likes to lose. I love when people are like, well, if you had fun, you won. No. Like, no. Who has fun losing? It's not fun. And I will say, Randy also said something to me that really helped put things in perspective to not get so emotional. Sometimes when things aren't going our way, we're also worried. I'm worried about, am I going to hit that funding goal, right? It's an all or nothing campaign. Then I'm getting frustrated. Well, this isn't working and that's not working. And then you're getting angry, and then your body just shuts down because now you're overwhelmed, right? And you're stressed and all this stuff and all these negative emotions. He said stop. and just do simple math. It's just a simple math problem, right? You got 30 days. This is your goal. How much did you raise so far? Okay, minus that, divide it by how many days you have left. And then I think when we first did this, it came out to like $215. He goes, you only need to raise $215 per day in order to hit that goal, right? Now, some days I'm going to do over that. Some days I might do under that, but I need to average that much to hit this goal. And when you could think of it like that, a simple math problem, it takes all the emotions out because each pledge just deducts from the 215 and deducts to get you, to zero or negative, right? And then that brings you into your next day. So that really helped me with not getting so frustrated. And Coach Mac always stressed this at Team Eagle One. He always stressed transition. And he was really big on transitioning really, really fast. No matter how tired we were, he always had us transition fast. And he always mentioned like, this is what's going to save your life, transition, right? You got to be able to move. And we had Navy SEAL William Brenham on the show. And if you haven't listened to his podcast, I highly recommend that episode. He talked about movement being life. Movement is life. And if you stay stagnant, you stay where you are, you're going to die. Maybe not physically, metaphorically inside, you're going to die. You have to be able to move in life. And he tells people, he doesn't care which direction you go, just move, right? And that's going to teach you something. It's either going to teach you, okay, this is the way I want to continue going. This is right for me. Or no, this doesn't work for me anymore. I got to shift. I got to move in this direction now, right? But you're always moving. And I had 30 days, which means that I don't have a lot of time to test something out. So if I was emailing 6,000 people and that was my strategy to get to my goal, at some point that stagnates and I have to switch tactics, right? And I have to be able to do it quickly and I have to be able to move, because if I would stick with the same tactic the whole entire time, I would not have achieved that goal. I was always in the movement, always in the transition. So as I was emailing and texting people and letting everybody know about the Kickstarter, annoying the heck out of them. And again, you have to get out of your mind too, because your mind is like, oh, everyone's going to think I'm so annoying. And oh, people are sick of hearing about the Kickstarter. Oh, I'm sick of hearing about the Kickstarter. And people are going to block me and nobody's going to like me. And it's like, you know what? Elon Musk said it's a real weakness to want to be liked by everybody, right? I was listening to Mr. Ballin, who I'm dying to get on the show, by the way, if anyone has any connections to him. Oh God, he's an incredible storyteller. He was listening to him and he's like, nobody gives a shit about you. Like, yeah, like your core immediate family. But aside from that, like people are inherently selfish. They don't care about you. He's right. And I like had that in my mind where it's like, who cares? Nobody is thinking about you and your annoyingness. Maybe they are, over the next 30 days. But after that, it's over. Like people are not going to keep thinking about Gina and how annoying she was for the last 30 days with her Kickstarter, right? It's fine. Just be annoying, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. You have a target to hit and we got to hit that target. So let's go. And I transitioned a couple of times when I was like, okay, what else can I do to get people to want to make the pledge? And I know that a lot of self-published authors struggle with author visits. And I have like the secret sauce for author visits. I'm so good at getting author visits and getting paid author visits and making a career out of it that I created a training video and templates and an ebook and all this other stuff. And then I put it out to author groups and I put it out on TikTok and I shared it with my following who are mainly self-published authors. And I said, if you pledge $50 or $100, I will give you for $50, like the training video and the templates and all that stuff. And for $100, I'll do a one-on-one consultation with you plus everything else, right? That didn't work very well. And then I had to transition to, okay, well, let me post about my book and maybe other authors will support me, right? And that got me a couple of pledges, not enough though to hit that goal where I need to keep doing it and keep doing it. So I had to again make that transition. Then I was like, oh my God, you know what I could do? I could do a raffle. People love raffles, right? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to raffle off a 3-night, 4-day stay at the Patricia Grand Hotel in Myrtle Beach, right? And so I'm sharing that with everybody. I'm only giving the hotel, I'm not giving airfare. And it wasn't working because my brother pointed this out to me. And he was like, nobody in California is going to care about your Myrtle Beach hotel when you're not giving away airfare or anything like that. Like nobody's going to fly all the way over there for a hotel stay. So you have to target Myrtle Beach or the Carolinas or something like that. So I'd post in all these groups and stuff, and that didn't do very well. But then I started handing out flyers. I made 50 flyers, and I went to a chamber event and I handed out to all the business owners there, right? Because if they would have won, they could have raffled it off. What do I care? And used it for their own gain, right? So I'm going to the chamber event, and I was with my friend Glenn, and I was telling him, like, God, I'm so nervous. Like, I'm an extrovert, but to just jump up in the middle of somebody's conversation or just walk up to somebody and introduce myself, it's just uncomfortable. And then I was like, Mr. Ballin, nobody gives a shit about you. Just go, 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 go. You have a goal to hit. We have to get rid of the I feel weird, right? And just do it. It's okay to feel weird, but you just got to do it anyway, right? So I did. And I started handing out flyers and telling people about it and sharing it with them. And people were receptive. Some people weren't. They were like, I don't want that. I'm not into it. Great. Good. I don't have to waste my time. And I give it to other people, and nobody gave the pledge. But that is okay. No big deal, because I then have to keep moving, right? Again, 30 days. We have to keep trying. So then I went to playgrounds, right? That's where moms are. It's my target audience, right? So I'd hand them out to moms with young kids, and hand them out to people. See if that worked. See if, people are going to be pledging that way. And I thought my rewards were really great, but they weren't the greatest, People really didn't care about creating an animation with their kid or having like an exclusive song or all this other stuff that I thought was like extra and fun and awesome. They really just cared about supporting me and the book and a good cause, right? So again, I just kept moving forward and moving forward and moving forward and getting rid of all the nerves and the thoughts that were going on in my mind and saying all this negative stuff and just moving on and just pushing that aside and thinking of everything as a math problem to get rid of the emotions, and just plugged away and plugged away and plugged away. And it came down to the wire. I mean, it came down to like the last day, the last like 10 hours where I hit that goal. I successfully funded it, and it felt freaking amazing. I will say, like, all the lessons that I was taught and all the people, especially in October, November, when I was doing this Kickstarter that came onto the show, it was like perfect time for them to be on the show and share with me their insights, because I used them all and I had them all in my mind when I was feeling funny, when I was, feeling stagnant, when I wasn't sure what to do. And I really feel like all that advice together helped me with succeeding at this Kickstarter. And now I signed the contract for my illustrator. We've worked together before. She was the illustrator for my first book, You Really Truly Do Belong. And now is going to be the illustrator for my second book, You Really Truly Are Enough. And I'm super excited. And I'm going to be doing it so differently than the first book that I did. I'm going to be marketing it so differently. I'm going to be really putting it out there and sharing it with everybody. And again, we'll see what happens. But different Gina right now. Like, this is Gina, the Mindset Lessons from the Field podcast host, who literally gets to talk to the coolest people on the planet and gets all these actionable takeaways to succeed at targets. And I didn't have this during my first book and marketing the first book and all that other stuff. I really feel like the guests that I get onto the show are so valuable and so inspiring. I said it 1,000 times this episode. I couldn't have done it without them. And I want to hear from you guys. Like, I want to hear if you've been using the advice that the guests have said on the show and how it has impacted and changed your life, how you were successful in certain things, which guest has impacted you the most, or is there something that one of them has said that have stuck with you? I want to hear from you guys. Send me an email, put it in the comments, reach out, because I want to know. I want to also share our wins, and I want to hear the advices that have really stuck with you. And I want to thank you guys again for listening to this episode of Field Notes and for being a loyal listener to the show. The show wouldn't exist without you guys. So thank you guys so much again. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a blessed week.